I am so glad you've joined me again for this episode. We pick up the story trying to understand who we are as the church and what we're supposed to be about. We pick up the story with ancient Israel's coming to have a king, hoping that this will be the fulfillment, this will be the coming of the blessing that was promised to Abraham, the blessing that will become a blessing for all the nations, for all the peoples. And so Israel's first king, Shaul, or Saul, as we often say in English, takes the throne. And it doesn't take very long before there are problems. And people begin to realize this isn't the blessing yet. It's not now. Samuel anoints a new king, not of Saul's house, the young man David. David reigns for a long time, and although David is a towering figure in the Hebrew Scriptures, there's more about David in the Hebrew Scriptures than about any other single human being. And yet, David's reign is fraught with ambiguity. David doesn't do everything right. Sometimes he sins, and God calls him to account. Sometimes David is foolish, and he is caught up by his foolishness, and people realize David is a great king, and really the high point of Israel's monarchy, and yet this can't be yet the blessing. And there's not yet blessing for all the nations. David dies and his son Solomon takes over. And there is a kind of flowering, a sort of golden age. But immediately after Solomon's death, there's discontent. There was discontent throughout Solomon's reign, but now people demand some things to be different. And the son of Solomon doesn't really listen or pay attention. And the end result is that Israel divides into two separate kingdoms with two separate kings who are sometimes even at war with each other. The kingdom to the north keeps the name Israel, and the kingdom to the south, whose capital is Jerusalem, takes the name Judah. The government in Judah always has a son of David on the throne. And there is an understanding, we'll say why later, there's an understanding that God has made a special covenant with the house of David. In the northern kingdom, there's continual agitation. Dynasties are overthrown, new ones put in place. The people have long realized that this is not yet God's blessing, and this is not yet blessing for all the nations, for all the peoples. And eventually, the northern kingdom falls at the hands of the brutal Assyrian Empire. In 721 before the Common Era, the northern kingdom, Israel, goes out of existence, and the people are dispersed throughout the Assyrian Empire. The southern kingdom, Judah, hangs on longer, but eventually, under pressure from Babylon, and finally under military invasion and the destruction of Jerusalem at the hands of Babylon and King Nebuchadnezzar, all of the leading people, the primary people, the leaders, they are all taken away into exile in Babylon. And the blessing has not yet come. Thank you.